Highlights for today, the 20th of December. 74 illegal immigrants who have cost Britain millions in welfare and housing have been allowed to stay in Britain. The tiny left-wing communist rag called the Morning Star has reported its disgust for new laws. It is reported that the Eurozone will keep on trying to fight its debt crisis. North Korean Communist leader Kim Jong-il has died. Israel has released over 500 Palestinian political prisoners. UK News: 74 illegal immigrants who have cost Britain millions in welfare and housing have been allowed to stay in Britain between 10 and 20 years at the expense of the British taxpayer. It has been revealed that 19 of the 74 illegals should have been kicked out of Britain more than 10 years ago, and one illegal individual has been on the deportation list for 20 years. The bill for these illegal immigrants has cost Britain nearly £23 million, one source has said. A loophole has been found that the illegal immigrants are using. A British National Party spokesman has said they are refusing to tell immigration officers where they come from so that they cannot be sent back. Taxpayers Alliance commented, saying that the government is spending millions on the illegal immigrants by keeping them in deportation centres instead of removing them from Britain. Judging from a shot of Oxford Street, London today, most of them seem to be doing their Christmas shopping. The tiny left-wing communist rag called the Morning Star has reported its disgust for new laws to stop non-Indigenous persons in Britain from bringing their partners over from the third world countries unless they take an English test. The anti-British and Marxist hate paper is referring to the case of Rashida Chapti. She has 6 children to her husband, who are very disappointed that he will not be joining them in Britain. The commie rag has explained that the woman's solicitor, named as Sanjeev Sharma, has been battling to bring the man over. Chapti has been married to this man for many years and living apart from him with her children. What needs to be changed? Regarding the Morning Star, one spokesman has commented, saying, "It is a disgraceful anti-British rag and hates the fact that Britain is indigenously white. They are Marxist and evil and should be banned." Another man complained at an Asda superstore in Liverpool about the Morning Star being anti-British and anti-Christian, and the Morning Star was removed from the shelves immediately. "I urge everyone to complain if they see it on any shelves at petrol stations, local shops and supermarkets." He added, "As Indigenous people we must protect our country and stop this filth from spreading and turn off their money supply." Euronews: It is reported that the Eurozone will keep trying to fight its debt crisis, while offering even more cash to the International Monetary Fund. There were concerns this week as the euro fell in Asia. Some British sources in government have said that the euro will not last another 12 months. Fitch ratings have said that Spain and France may be downgraded, along with another 6 Eurozone member countries, on the thought that it may help the euro debt crisis. The German Finance Minister, Wolfgang Schäuble, has announced that Germany may give its full contribution to the Eurozone Rescue Fund next year. Due to the Eurozone crisis, reports by the Bank of England have said that due to austerity measures, the average household income has fallen yet again. World News: North Korean Communist leader Kim Jong-il has died. It is believed that he had died from a heart attack. The successor to lead the communist country has been chosen, Kim Jong-il's third son, Kim Jong-un. North Korean people have been living under the fist of the Stalinist state and have gone hungry under its ruthless communist rule for many, many years. Fighting in Egypt has intensified. For 4 days, protesters against military rule in Egypt have fought in violent clashes with soldiers and other security forces. Tear gas and batons have been used against a crowd hurling bricks and stones, in some of the worst clashes the country has seen during the fall of the last Egyptian president. Israel has released over 500 Palestinian political prisoners in a deal with its leader, Gilad Shalit. About a dozen buses dropped the prisoners off the West Bank, with another making a drop-off in Gaza. The Palestinians were met by family and friends on their release. It has been announced that soldiers from the Syrian army who defected to fight against the government rule have been attacking and killing government forces at the weekend. The soldiers defected earlier this year and have been fighting for change in Syria. The fighting and killing is still ongoing since March this year. Before our finally story today, I have a story, a ghost story to tell. It is true, and the two other people who saw this were sceptics, but no more, my friends. This happening occurred around 3 years ago on a wet and stormy night in November in the south of England. I, my then regional South East organiser and SE security officer were travelling back from Hastings where I had been speaking. We were using Steve's van for reasons of space and economy. We had had a few detours due to roadworks and were currently around the Horsham area. The rain was coming down in sheets and we were on a narrow country road which appeared to have no houses nearby. We were going slowly due to the flooding of the road, and on our left-hand side, my passenger side, we passed 3 youths standing in the rain. We slowed down as we approached them, thinking we could offer them a lift in the back of the van. I noticed they were dressed in T-shirts with hoods and were not making any effort to hitch a lift. The uncanny thing was that they were dry, and although we could not see their faces inside of the hoods, they were bright gold. We had passed them, so we backed up a bit and they were gone. There were no houses near. They had been standing in a line together over what appeared to be a ditch and had vanished without trace. We were all shaken, but what happened next was worse. Whilst we moved forward, we were just saying how odd it was that 3 youngsters should be out in this awful weather when there was a terrible booming noise from the back of the van and an icy blast of Arctic air blasted its way right past my right ear and through the window. There were no doors open and the van was completely closed and empty at the back. We 3 just sat there and our hair stood on end and we apparently had gone rather pale. No one said a word until we were back nearly in Berkshire. I was dropped off home first, then the SERO, and poor Steve had to go home to Crowthorne alone in his van. He was not a happy bunny. When I arrived home, my husband took one look at my face and said, "Honey, you look like you've seen a ghost." Well, I had. And like many of these occurrences, they are unexpected and unexplained. We should have researched the area to see what had happened in the past, but these young ghosts were modern and not from a time too distant. I prefer not to know, but the story of the golden, dry youths in the pouring rain who vanished will never be known. And finally, a teenager in California tried to take a leaf out of Santa Claus's book by trying to use a chimney to enter a house. The house belonged to his parents, where the 18-year-old lived, and was the scene of an earlier feud which caused the teenager to be grounded by curfew. The teenage rebel, known as Jorge Herrera, sneaked out of the house while his parents thought he was asleep. Missing his curfew, he climbed onto the roof and down the chimney, and got stuck at the bottom where his legs could be seen sticking out of the living room fireplace. The Californian Fire Department hosed soapy water down the chimney to release him. Next time he tries climbing down the chimney, he should get advice from Father Christmas, one fire officer commented. You have been listening to The World at 8. I am Lynn Mozart, and I wish you all a very good night.